Alright, in this video, I'm going to show you how to build cheat engine from source. So with this, I'm going to go over, what all you need to actually do this and show you it all. I'm going to show you what all you actually need to build with inside of cheat engine. That way it's fully functional when you're done. And I'm going to show you how to completely rename cheat engine and how to correct, all the little errors that it throws when you do that. That way you can bypass, just basic string detection in some games. So to get started here, we're going to need quite a few things. I'm going to link all this stuff in the description below. I'm also going to throw in a link for my Discord server. The purpose for that is in a channel called Downloads, I'm going to have, just a pre-built version of this you can just download and use if you want. And I'm going to also have a separate download that just has a few extra things that you'll actually need to do this yourself. So the virtual machine disk image to, use DBVM. DSE patcher to actually load the driver. And what else? Oh, yeah, simple Lua script I wrote that just helps bypass string detection. So, to get started here, first things first, we need the cheat engine source code. You can get this right here on their GitHub page. If you've never done this, just click this big green code button and then download zip. Next thing you're going to need for cheat engine itself, you need a very specific IDE, and it's called Lazarus. So, and with this, we want a very specific version. So come down here to where it says other downloads, and then just click the SourceForge project page. Now come here into files. And now I'm showing you how to build the 64-bit version. So we're just going to use Lazarus Windows 64-bit. Maybe. There we go. And you want version 2.2.2 of Lazarus specifically. If you use like the latest version, it'll throw you like build errors and stuff when you're trying to actually build cheat engine. So easiest way to do this, just download this version. And you're going to want to download and install the Win64 exe first, and then you can go ahead and install the cross for Windows 32. Go ahead and close that. Next thing we're going to need is HXD. The reason for this program is it's just so you can hex edit it and, completely rename cheat engine. It's the simplest and fastest way to do it. So yeah, just come here, pick your language, download and install. We're also going to need Visual Studio 2019. The reason I'm using version 2019 for this is it's the simplest way to show you guys how to do this. You can build it with 2022, but there's a couple things that are redacted that basically when you try to build it, it's going to throw you a ton of errors in the actual code of the driver itself, and you'll have to update a whole bunch of stuff. So instead of showing you guys all of that, I'm just going to show you Visual Studio 2019. It's, like I said, the easiest way to do this. So just come down here, download Communities 2019, and I'll show you what you need to actually install with this. All right, so you want desktop development with C++. That's the only thing you're going to need in this portion anyway. And then you want to come up here to individual components, and you're looking for version 142 for 64-bit, so 142x64. And you want to make sure you have MSVC 142 for x64, x86 build tools, and it's the latest version. Make sure that's checked. Make sure you have the latest Spectre-mitigated libraries. And then down here in SDK libraries and frameworks, you want ATL for latest build tools. ATL for latest build tools with Spectre Mitigations. And MFC build tools with Spectre Mitigations, also latest. Everything's, the latest version. So go ahead and install all of that. Once you have all of that installed, you can download and install your Windows SDK. And for this, we want a specific version. Now, I'm doing Windows 10. Both my virtual machine here and, my main PC, they're both Windows 10. I'm not a fan of Windows 11. But if you happen to be on Windows 11 and you want to follow this video step by step, you can just, use VMware and a virtual machine on Windows 10 to do this as well. The reason I'm using a VM is that's just personal preference on my end, you know. That way it just keeps my main PC clean. I don't end up with a bunch of useless programs. But for this, we want the Windows 10 SDK version 2004. So I'll go ahead and show you what you need to install with this as well. Wrong thing. Okay, you want Windows Performance Toolkit, debugging tools for Windows. You don't need the application verifier. Net Framework 4.8, Windows IP over USB. You don't need MSI Tools. You want the Windows SDK signing tools. You want the SDK for UWP managed apps and UWP C apps. You don't need apps localization. You want Windows SDK for your desktop x86, and then you can get rid of this AMD, ARM, and ARM64. So go ahead and install all of that. And once all of that is done, you can go ahead and download and install your Windows driver kit. Make sure your Visual Studio is completely installed and your SDK is completely installed before you do this. And for this, we also want a specific version. So we're looking for WDK for Windows 10 version 2004 right here. With this, it's super simple. You just download it, run the program, it installs. At the end, you should see a pop-up, and it should prompt you. You should see a little checkbox that says Install Windows Driver Kit Visual Studio Extension. Just make sure that's checked, and you're done. All right, now that we have all of the tools we actually need, go ahead and extract Cheat Engine. And real fast, I'm just going to clean some stuff up, so we don't need any of this GitHub stuff. Yeah, I didn't want to copy that. Nice. So I'm going to get rid of all of that just because we don't need it. So you're going to come here to Cheat Engine and find this file, dbk32. Open this up, and then you want to actually make some changes to dbk32 functions. So with this, I mean, you can open it up in Lazarus, or with me, I'm just going to use Notepad because it's just a simple change we want to make. So in Notepad, just press Control F, and then you can search for Cheat Engine Driver 73 or dbk32.sys or dbk64.sys. It doesn't really matter. All three will put you in the same place, as you can see. So your service name, you just want to change it to something. So for me, I'm going to change mine to game exploits. And then you want to change dbk64 and 32.sys to something else. Make sure, you know, at the end it has 64 and 32. So for me, game exploit, all one word. Game exploit, again, all one word. Go ahead and save that. All right, now you want to scroll down and you're looking for this Cheat Engine Lazarus project info file, so LPI. Go ahead and open this up. I can get rid of this. I don't need that on my screen. Once that's open, there's a couple other things we're going to want as well with this. So looking for an FRM file right here. This very first FRM driver loaded unit file. Go ahead and open this up in Lazarus as well. And in here, we're just going to change one line right here where it says caption dbk64 loaded. We're just going to change this to something else. So this is basically just when you load the driver, it puts up the top left of your screen. The driver has been loaded, and that's just the default name for it. So for us, we are going to just do driver loaded. Once that's done, you can go ahead and click run, compile many modes, and I'm only going to do release 64-bit just for simplicity of this tutorial. You can do release 64-bit and release 64-bit AVX2 if you want. The steps will be the same regardless, but just for simplicity, I'm only building the one. All right, now that that's done, go ahead and close Lazarus. Scroll back up, and there's a couple other things we need to build as well. So first things first, we're going to find this WinHook folder, open up WinHook, run, compile many modes, and I'm just compiling release 64 since we're building the 64-bit version. You can build Windows Repair if you want. I'll just go ahead and build it real fast. This isn't a necessity though. How many modes? Release. VEH debug. Make sure you build this. So VEH is a debugger within inside a cheat engine. It won't function without this DLL. So with this, minimize that, compile many modes, and again, I'm building the 64-bit version, so I'm only going to build the 64-bit version of VEH debug. You don't have to build a tutorial. You can if you want to. Make sure you build speed hack. How many modes? 64 bits. And that should be everything that you actually need to build. So if we come in here to our bin, you should see cheat engine. You should see Windows Repair, WinHook, VEH debug, and speed hack. Just make sure you have all of that. Now with this, I'm just gonna go ahead and rename this right away. So change it to game exploits. Actually, x64. And now, before I actually get into showing you how to rename it and everything, I'm going to go ahead and build the driver itself. So for this, come into your DBK kernel folder, come down here, you can find the kernel SLN or the Visual Studio project. You can click on whichever one, it doesn't really matter. They both are open the same thing. Alright, now first things first with this, we're not building ARM, so go ahead and change this to x64. And make sure you're on, not release, but release without SIG. The reason we're doing it this way is the same reason that I'm showing you how to use 2019 instead of 2022. Like if I was to try to do debug real fast, I can just show you the error that it's going to throw. Yeah, see? There's quite a few errors. It's all this EX allocate pool declared depracted. This is the same error that one of the same errors that you will have with Visual Studio 2022 if you try to build it there. So we'll do release without SIG just to circumvent all of that, not have to deal with it. So go ahead and expand your DBK kernel. Come here to driver files. We're going to exclude this dbk32 because we're not building it. Go ahead and open up dbk64.inf. Scroll down here to the bottom and change your manufacturer name. So default cheat engine, for me it's going to be game exploits. And then this dbk64. To change this and this entire thing here, just press Control H. As you can see, dbk64 and then game exploit 64. So this actually isn't correct. It would be case sensitive. So since we renamed our driver in here, as you can see, to game exploit 64, this is case sensitive here. So make sure this matches correctly. Then make sure you're set to current document, not all open documents or current project or anything. And then click right here where it says replace all. 31 occurrences replaced. And that just completely renamed everything that was dbk64 to game exploit 64. Next, you can go ahead and rename this INF and this DDF file. So go ahead and just click rename. We're going to do game exploit. Wait, case sensitive again. So game exploit 64. And game exploit 64. Now up here at the top, click DBK kernel, come down here to properties, make sure in your actual property pages you're set to release without SIG, and your current active platform should be x64. So just make sure both of those are set correctly. You can change your target name to game exploit. Also keep in mind, I'm not sure if I even said this, you can name this stuff whatever you want. It doesn't have to be game exploit. This is just the name I'm using. Once that's done, you want to come down here to driver signing, go into general, and default it should be set to test sign. You could turn this off, or you could just use test sign and create a test certificate, which is how I'm going to show you how to do it. Lastly, come here to build events and then post build events. And this command line here, just click in it, press Control A, completely delete it. Press apply and OK, and now build solution. As you can see, build 1 succeeded, 0 failed. You have now built your driver. Alright guys, complete afterthought on my part, but I figured I'd better throw this in the video as well. So I'm just recording this now, and when I edit the video, I'll put it in there somewhere. But if you have any errors when you actually build your driver and they're related to inclusions, which is possible, what you're going to want to do, because it will be, something that is actually included with the Windows driver kit itself that just isn't being linked against properly. So to actually correct that, come here to your header files, right click, click add, and then existing item. And now you just want to find wherever you installed your actual Windows driver kit. So for me, local disk C, program files x86, Windows kits, Windows 10, include the version of Windows 10, and then your KM folder. And this is where you will find all of your header files for your actual Windows driver kit. So whatever's missing, if you do happen to have that error, it should tell you down here in your output, what the error is and what's actually missing. So you can go there, find it, click on it, click add, and that will actually include it in your project, and then it should build no problem. If we come in here to our bin, you'll be able to see it. So game exploit PDB, game exploit.sys, etc. Just to verify that it runs, we come here to my downloads. I'm going to run DSE patcher, disable DSE, go ahead and run game exploit. As you can see, driver loaded perfectly fine. All right, now to completely rename this, I'm gonna go ahead and open up HXD and drag game exploit into HXD. Go to search, find. First thing we're going to change is actually the window title. So search for Cheat Engine 7.5, set this to all, and search all. And as you can see, we have 2 results here. So to do this with hex editing, make sure that whatever you change it to has either the equal amount of characters than what the original value has. So for Cheat Engine 7.5, that's what, 16 characters? I can't overwrite this with something that says 17 characters. It will break the exe and it will no longer launch. So in our case, we're just going to rename it to game exploit, and then I'm going to completely space over the 7.5. Going to do the same thing here. And space over the 7.5. Next, come down here to search, go to replace. We can get rid of the 7.5, we've already changed that. Just search for Cheat Engine. And we're going to replace it with something that is, the equal amount of characters, basically. So game exploit and Cheat Engine, both 12 characters. Click search all, editor encoding, replace all. Come back into search again. Make sure you do Unicode as well. Next, we're going to search with an underscore instead of a space. Replace all. Go ahead and search Unicode. I don't think it's going to find anything. It's not. Lastly, with no space. That's all. And make sure you do editor encoding. All right, and you have completely renamed your cheat engine. So go ahead and save. We can close out of this. And as you can see now, it throws us a couple errors. There's a couple ways to fix this. Just read the error itself. So cheat engine /bin /auto run /emerpm.lua at line 33. So you can come here to your auto run and you can find this emerpm lua file. You can open this with Notepad and go to line 33 and change it, or you can just hex edit this as well, which is how I'm going to show you guys how to do this. So you want to drag and drop this lua into here. Look at your error. Down here at the bottom, it'll show you the actual error. So for us, it is get cheat engine directory dir. So we're going to find get cheat engine dir, search all, and as you can see, the error itself is right here. So to fix this, all we want to do is change game or cheat engine to game exploits. File, save. Out of that. And we also have an error with the save session Lua at line 6. So open HXD back up. Come down here to the save session Lua. Drag and drop. And I just happen to know that this is going to throw the same error the last Lua did. So go ahead and search that one first and just fix it. So game exploits. Game exploit, and now we want to find the next error. So for this, it is cheat engine IS 64 bits. Search all. And again, just rename cheat engine to game exploit. Go ahead and save the file. And now if we actually run our exe, as you can see, it loads up. There are no errors anymore. Now we're going to need a few more things here. So one of the first things we need is the VM disk image. This is to make DBVM actually work. So you can just go ahead and drag and drop this in. And just to show you that this does work, I'm going to take this bin file, going to rename it. Because for this, since we built everything we need is actually housed inside this bin file, so you don't need any of this other stuff. So we'll take this, and I'm just going to copy it over to my main PC real fast. Get rid of real-time protection, and I'm also going to need DSE patcher. So I'm going to go ahead and run DSE patcher, disable DSE. Go ahead and open up my game exploit folder. Run game exploit 64.exe. Now if we come here to settings, click about cheat engine, as you can see, your system supports DBVM. And we can just click that actual message, and now it will actually start running the DBVM. keep in mind that DBVM will cause you to blue screen quite frequently, but it is, a good tool to actually have. So, well as, if I was to, actually, let me change my settings real fast. So if I go to debugger options and set VEH debugger, since we built that as well, we can come here to program manager, attach debugger. And as you can see, it attached the VEH debugger. So that's it, guys. You have successfully built your own version of Cheat Engine. Like I said, in the description below will be my Discord server. There will be quite a few things, one of which will be this little Lua script I wrote. So what this does is, I'll just go ahead and show you real fast. So if I go into memory view, tools, Lua engine, paste this in, and I execute it. As you can see here, the actual labels and stuff, the captions themselves have changed slightly. Not drastically. It still maintains readability. I'm just using homoglyphs to do this, just to, maintain that readability. But it is enough to actually bypass basic string detection. So, works pretty slick. For this, I'm just going to go ahead and save this and save current scripts. Go into my auto run folder and I'm just going to name it secret sauce. Save it, and now every time I launch Cheat Engine, it will automatically execute that Lua script, as you can see. But alright, guys, thanks for watching. That's it.